We are witnessing firsthand how corrupt power can be. When the Biden Justice Department conducted an unannounced raid on former President Donald Trump's residence on August 8, it was a major step too far for many people in the United States, who are now left wondering what the hell has become of our country. An ex-president should not be treated with such third-world contempt. This is bad enough, but the fact that it is a part of a larger pattern of bureaucratic misconduct against Trump makes it even worse. The Biden administration and the Democrats have demonstrated their desperation and willingness to resort to any means necessary to cling to power by using the Justice Department as a weapon to target and intimidate their political enemies. This video is going to be about FBI raids Trump resort home Mar-a-Lago. The raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort home. Mar-a-Lago, ex-President Donald Trump's resort residence in Palm Beach, Florida, was raided by the FBI, Trump said Monday night. After months of speculation over whether Attorney General Merrick Garland would pursue inquiries into the former president, the search indicates a significant escalation of federal law enforcement scrutiny on Trump. To secure a warrant to search, federal agents have to convince a court that there's a good chance they'll find evidence related to a crime at the address they've chosen. Both the FBI and DOJ were unwilling to make any remarks. After 15 boxes of White House documents, including some marked as sensitive, were mysteriously found up at Mar-a-Lago rather than the National Archives, the Justice Department launched an investigation into possible legal violations, according to reports from NBC News and other publications. If the FBI searches your home, you're in big trouble, former federal prosecutor Renato Mariotti said. Multiple states and federal investigations of Trump and his family and company are currently underway. According to reports, the Department of Justice is looking into what led up to the incident on January 6, 2021. Trump, who spends the summers at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, was not at Mar-a-Lago during the raid. Later on Monday evening, the former president left Trump Tower in New York City without answering reporters' queries. He's as shocked as anybody, said Laura Trump, daughter-in-law of the former president. The latter claimed to Fox News that she and Trump had spoken earlier in the night. That, she elaborated, everybody has been cooperating with the FBI when considering the documents that have been in question. The raid occurred just a few hours after Politico revealed that former federal prosecutor and current Trump attorney John Rowley had been in contact with the DOJ over executive privilege issues arising from the agency's investigation into the disturbance on January 6 in the U.S. Capitol. Early Monday, Axios revealed images that verified prior allegations that Trump was suspected of having dumped documents down the White House toilet, reigniting interest in how he handled government documents while in office. Joe Biden attack on Donald Trump and his supporters. After promising to repair the spirit and to ensure the future of America, Joe Biden has been in office for nearly 2 years. When he led, the country came together as one. However, at this point, it appears that this is little more than a pipe dream. Fractures are widening with only a few months until the midterm elections in November due to events like the shooting in Buffalo and Uvalde and the threats to abortion rights and the clash of civilizations that Republicans have started over school textbooks. Such widespread military aid for Ukraine is usual in Congress, where bipartisan agreements are as uncommon as four-leaf clovers. Even though there are growing pragmatic majorities on some topics, including a prohibition on military-style weapons, this is not yet translated into legislative action, as shown by surveys. Mr. Biden urged his Republican colleagues in Congress to support common-sense gun control measures on June 2nd. However, the lack of a sufficient majority renders this petition futile. Mr. Biden has been unable to reply to the Republicans' assaults on hyperinflation, which is at a 40-year high, ambiguous migration policy at the Mexican border, and growing crime rates since his approval rating is just around 40%, according to the polls. Aside from that, there's the perpetual COVID-19 dilemma, which never seems to run out of conspiratorial fodder, but which most Americans choose to ignore. Mr. Biden, in light of the current gloomy situation, has decided to alter his previous tone. Politics today is organized around not affinities but aversions, said journalist Timothy Noah in a New Republic article. You may not love me, Biden says, but never forget how much you hate those other guys. The current U.S. president has gone almost a year without addressing his predecessor. Because of his inherent optimism and years of service in Congress, he frequently advocated for the interests of pragmatic Republicans. Some Republicans in Congress backed his big $1.2 trillion infrastructure proposal, reinforcing his position. However, these Republicans were likely more concerned with the building projects they could identify for their respective districts. Why Biden is following key points of Trump's China trade policy. In many ways, President Biden has reversed the actions of his predecessor. Not so, though, when business deals involve China. A trade agreement negotiated by President Trump in his final year in office will not be abandoned by the Biden administration. Instead, it intends to challenge China over its failure to live up to its commitments under the pact. The Biden administration wants to keep Trump's tariffs on most Chinese imports to the United States, although it will restart an exclusion process to exempt other products. So the fundamental tenets of Trump's trade approach with China will be unaltered. On Monday, U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai gave a major address on the subject, during which she vowed that the administration would not rule out the potential of higher tariffs in the future. As a result of a rising nonpartisan belief that prior strategies with China under Republican and Democratic administrations have not worked, the Biden team's strategy was developed. Neither the International Trade Organization nor unilateral pressure from leaders like Trump has been successful in getting China to end its unfair trade practices after years of discussion. Biden is attempting to thread the needle, putting pressure on China to address a top Trump objective without appearing to endorse anything the president has done. The administration has insisted its trade plan is radically different from Trump's. They told reporters before Tai's address that Trump's actions were disorderly and unilateral, cutting him off from international allies. Biden's team, on the other hand, is seeking to take a more systematic approach by working both with allies and investing domestically to help American workers. Biden administration officials point to recent U.S.-EU commitments to enhance the semiconductor supply chain and collaborate to collectively pressure China on its trade practices as proof that multilateral action is possible and prudent. The lessons the Biden administration could learn from Trump's tenure in office. The Trump administration makes a public attempt to reverse regulations imposed by the Obama administration. Their deeds have proved various legal and tactical lessons for upcoming administrations, such as a potential incoming Biden government, which will seek to alter some of their predecessors' rules. Due to rising political division and legislative impasse, regulation has become the primary method of policymaking, raising the stakes and provoking more disputes. The work of the Obama administration can be undone relatively swiftly and unilaterally by the Biden administration by taking the following steps. The delay of a Trump administration regulations implementation date. If a rule issued by the Trump administration is being challenged in court, the agency is likely to postpone the rule's implementation while the case is underway. Relying on a lower court's decision that struck down all or part of a rule made by the previous administration as the basis for rescinding the rule in its entirety. While the Trump administration didn't come up with these tactics on its own, its extensive use of them has led to landmark judicial rulings and shifts in strategic dynamics. For example, before trying to postpone the implementation of rules during the Trump administration, Biden's management should seek out substantial public opinion. However, before allowing additional legal actions, agencies should seriously reconsider asking for judicial review that decides against Trump administration regulations for an opportunity to re-examine them. That's all there is for today. Leave us a comment with your thoughts on FBI raids Trump resort home Mar-a-Lago. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the video, and click the notification bell to never miss our videos. Stay tuned.